let's talk about the pros and cons of living in NEPA. Hi, I'm Irelyn, and thanks so much for coming by the Living in NEPA channel, where we talk about what it's like to live, move, and invest to Northeast Pennsylvania. We are also a team of realtors and would love a chance to win your business. So please give us a call, text, or email anytime. Our phone number and email are on the screen and in the description down below. I had clients that I showed a couple weekends ago coming from Nebraska, and they were asking me a bunch of questions about the area itself, just things like the weather and about, jobs, things to do, stuff like that. It wasn't really about, oh, what's the market like? What are the price of home? Those typical things that, when you're buying a home, you ask. But they were just asking about simple things. So I was like, giving them the answers, and I was thinking that it would just be a really good video to make, because I don't think a lot of people explicitly enough compare the pros and the cons, because there are a lot of people from the surrounding states like New Jersey and New York, Delaware, Maryland, that move here, and especially either to move or to invest, because that's very popular in this area. Multifamilies and apartment buildings, commercial, industrial, things like that. A lot of people invest in this area. So it's really good to know what kind of goes on, what are some of the pros of the area, and everybody wants to know the cons. So we're going to kind of get into all that. First pro is the weather. Now, the weather in Pennsylvania, unlike some areas really up north or really down south, maybe even west, it's a 4-season location. So you have things to do all year round. There's skiing, hunting, snowboarding, canoeing, kayaking, lakes and mountains. You basically have it all, right? Except there's no beaches. So if you're a beach person, we don't have any beaches very, very close to us, but if you are willing to travel a couple hours, then there's your beach. But there's just a lot of things to do year round here. So I think that it's just a really good place to be if that's what you're looking for. I would just say that the weather is definitely a pro, because there's a huge balance on hot and cold. There's a lot of mountains, so there's a lot of trails in this area, biking, hiking, swimming. There's a lot of state parks. One thing about the weather being a pro, there's a website with a calendar full of things to do literally every single day. If you go to discovernepa.com, you will find a website with the people that run it and basically do all of the events, and they visit different things, so you can have footage to see what it's like to do those things in the specific area. Second pro is that this area, it's a city but with small town vibes to it. So if you like the city life, living near shops, malls, grocery stores, minutes away from those types of things to do, you'll get that here. And if you want to get away, you want some land, you want space, you want it to be quiet, there's places like that too. So it kind of has a preference for everybody. You kind of get the best of both worlds here. The area is growing and innovating new businesses and shops and things like that. We're getting, because of the pandemic, it really did take a toll on a lot of current businesses that were in place, and a lot of businesses did have to shut down, but there are a lot of new businesses that have been under construction and coming up. They're building tons of hotels for tourists and shoppers. Your city, small city and small town vibe combination is what you're gonna get here. The third pro is going to be the history of the area. So Pennsylvania, as you probably know, is one of the first 13 colonies. So there's a lot of history that's maintained in this area. You have a lot of older buildings. You get that stone foundation, the very original foundation. You have buildings that were built in the 17 and 1800s. A lot of them, the majority of homes typically are 75 to 100 years old. So you are going to get a lot of history in this area, but that doesn't mean that they're not innovating. However, the state is home to 169 national historic landmarks. So definitely look into that if you are a history guru or are just curious and want to know about the area that you're living in or going to be moving to or investing in, because it could really help you make a decision and kind of give you a little background on why the area is the way that it is. This area was super big on coal mining. That's why sometimes in homes you'll see a lot of random toilets in the basement. You'll see a lot of random shower stalls, and you'll see sometimes old coal bins under the porch. That's where they used to store the coal. It's because these homes were built so long ago that when people were working in the coal industry, they had to basically wash off in the basement because they didn't want to get the house dirty. So that's just kind of a little bit of a fun fact. Definitely check it out if you're interested. If you're not interested, let's go to the next pro. The fourth pro is going to be the low cost of living. So if you're moving from somewhere like New York, New Jersey, even down south, out west, sometimes it could be the cost of living is going to be higher. So when you come here, it kind of makes it seem like you're getting more bang for your buck. Also, there's a lot of multi-families and rentals in this area. So a lot of people do also come to rent to kind of check the place out, if you know, to save up to buy a home, and they'll basically rent for a while because it's a very popular place to invest. So the low cost of living, and I did make a video, my previous video about this was the cost of living in NEPA, so definitely go check that out if you kind of want to get into some more detail of what it costs to live here. The fifth pro is the distance and proximity to the larger and bigger cities. So Pennsylvania is known as the Keystone State for its geographical proximity to the other states that surround it. A lot of things are not really that far away if you don't mind driving a few hours. So you have Philadelphia, King of Prussia, that's only like an hour and a half to 2 hours away. New Jersey, same distance. Beaches, same distance. So it's very close to things like that. We have the Tannersville Outlets, which is basically a huge plaza of shopping outlets that people go to. It's like 45 minutes away. There's also the Lehigh Valley, which is about an hour-ish, I think. And again, they have a huge mall that you could go shopping in. But there's also malls here. If you need to get some quick shopping done, there are malls here and stores that you can do that in. But if you want to go on like this huge shopping spree in a different location and check out other stores that might not be in this area, it's not really that far to go there. The last pro is going to be its sports. So if you are a sports fan, you're definitely going to get a lot of competition and competitiveness in this area. If you like the Eagles, the Steelers, the Phillies, whatever sport you like, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, field hockey, it's all here, and it's not just professional. In this area, everybody loves high school and college sports. So all of those sports that I just listed, you're going to get that same competitiveness at the professional level as you do high school and the college level. And the good thing also about this area is that there's a lot of colleges in the area, right? So you have King's College. You can feel free to look these schools up. You have King's College, Wilkes University, University of Scranton. You have Marywood University, Lackawanna College. There is a community college here. Then you have the branches of Penn State, and you have Penn State Wilkes-Barre, Penn State Scranton, Penn State Hazleton, Keystone College, Clark Summit University. I hopefully named the majority of them, but as you can see, there's a ton of colleges, and just in this location, all within like half hour, 45 minutes from each other. So if you're looking for some competitiveness and some places to catch some games, this is definitely going to be the area that you can do that in. It is so funny that I'm talking about and going into the cons, and this being the first con right now, because I'm sweating. As you could tell, it's sunny, it's super hot, but it's very hot, okay? This is like the hottest week we've had all year. So with that being said, your first con of this area is going to be the weather as well. It's very unpredictable. I would say, just speaking on this year, our past winter wasn't really like a super heavy winter. We had some storms here and there, but it wasn't anything where it was like storm after storm after storm and tons of snow. It really wasn't like that. But on the flip side, this summer, it wasn't super, super hot. Unlike right now, there was a lot of rain. It was raining like every other day, thunderstorms, and it wasn't unbearably hot this summer. Yeah, you had your days that it was like in the 80s, but it was mostly cool at night, so it just wasn't too bad. This week we got a heat advisory, and that's why I'm sweating right now, because it's like up in the 90s and very humid and hot. So that's what I mean by unpredictable. That's one thing I do know about this past winter, is we had a week of where it was super, super cold, which can cause you to be running your utilities more, your heat more. In the summer, your AC a lot more. So that cost for you is gonna go up. Also, the weather does take a toll on your car maintenance. The extremes definitely aren't very pleasant. The second con is going to be the road conditions. There are a lot of potholes in the roads. You kind of have to swerve around them to avoid them. Sometimes you don't even know they're there, and then you're driving and automatically you're like, boom, and you're like, what did I just hit? Oh, it was a pothole. I didn't even see that. However, I do have to say, even though the road conditions is a con, they have been redoing a lot of roads this year around. So they are taking care of that issue slowly, but you definitely want to make sure that you're seeing the road when you drive. The third con is going to be construction. It seems like there is always construction going on year round. Every road is a detour, every single road, but there is a lot of construction. So definitely keep that in mind if you're running late or you have road rage, right? Definitely leave a little bit earlier, especially during rush hour, because you have a lot of people coming and going. There is traffic, so definitely be mindful of the timeliness that you need to be somewhere. So our fourth con is going to be taxes. Taxes suck for everybody, but Pennsylvania actually was ranked number 4 of having the largest tax rate around amongst all the states. And also Pennsylvania was ranked 3rd highest of having the highest gas taxes per gallon. There are some cities that have higher taxes than others, like Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. They have higher taxes than typically the surrounding towns. So you definitely just want to make sure if you're buying a home that you pay attention to the taxes. The fifth con, number 5, and probably the worst one of them all, are bugs. I hate bugs. Maybe I'm being biased, I don't know, but it just feels like there's so many bugs around, and it's all year round. They're outside, they're inside, they're in your basement, they're on your clothes. Sometimes I feel like they're repellent to bug spray because they don't do anything. It doesn't do anything to them, but there's bugs everywhere: mosquitoes, spiders, flies, fruit flies, ants. I mean, you name it. There are snakes here too, but not very poisonous ones for the most part. So that would definitely be a con for me. Bugs, number 5, probably should be number 1 if I was ranking them. Make sure you're just kind of up to date with the types of bugs going on. Okay, and our last con is going to be the infrastructure and older buildings. So I know we talked about the older buildings and the history being a pro, but it's also a con because sometimes people don't really keep up with the older buildings, and you need to keep up with them to be able to keep them in good shape, to be able to resell them and live there. So I kind of think there's this ongoing balance of preserving the history of this area, but also promoting growth. So you'll see some buildings that are innovated and are modern and updated, but you'll also get those, rundown buildings, the empty buildings that somebody needs to come in and update. Just keep in mind, especially if you're going into houses too, there's a lot of settling where you're going to have the sloped floors just because these houses have been built so long ago that the settling and wear and tear and erosion over the years has caused these houses to not have the best infrastructure, but that doesn't mean that it's not fixable or, you can't still live there. So just keep that in mind when you're moving here and looking at homes. With that being said, thanks so much for watching this video on the pros and cons of NEPA. I really, really would love your feedback and your comments down below, just kind of what you think, what your favorite pro is, favorite con is, maybe some things you didn't really know about or take into consideration, and maybe you have more that I didn't talk about here. I'm sure there are a ton more that I didn't name, but I tried to hit the ones that a lot of people could relate to also if they're looking to move, live, or invest in this area. But again, if you are looking to buy or sell in this area, please make sure to reach out, call, text, or email anytime. We would love to hear from you, and our phone number and email again are on that screen. Thanks for coming by.